AutoWeb. Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
AutoWeb.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, the president of Dealer Synergy, and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. And I'm super excited because we have a very, very special guest, very good friend of mine from a major company, is Mark Vickery. Mark is the head of the performance management division of VinSolutions, which is of obviously Cox Automotive. Now, I don't know if Mark got promoted to become the emperor of the CRM world or what, but Mark, welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, which we're live streaming in front of about almost 22,000 automotive professionals. And once this is done, probably in about a week or so, it's going to get converted to a podcast and go to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast and get syndicated all over the place. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. And I put my fancy title on my arm, just like you. Oh, sorry. It's not very impressive.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, I'm about this life. You know what I mean? Like, when you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're really about, but I don't know if having Cox on your arm is a good thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure it is.
Okay. All right. So listen, Mark, first of all, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview because, you know, obviously VinSolutions is a major, major company in the automotive industry. But before we get into Vin, I got to tell you, I'm really impressed with you as an automotive professional. So can you just start and tell us a little bit about your background, you know, how you got into the automotive industry and what your qualifications are in car sales?
Yeah. Sure. I would tell you this, everything that I have in my life, I owe to the car business. I've been in the automobile business in some shape, fashion, or form my entire adult life. I came to Cox, really V-Auto, from the retail dealer group here in Kansas City, where I live, and joined V-Auto. Frankly, right after we signed up with V-Auto, it was a brand new company. I think they had like 75 employees. My wife thought I was crazy walking away from a demo, and they treated me great. And I'm still great friends with them to this day. But the V-Auto just seemed really, really cool. And so I moved over there and was a performance manager for, 4 or 5 years, and then came to Vin to establish performance management like we had at V-Auto here at VinSolutions. And it's kind of grown from there. You know, I'm spending time with Xtime and DealerTrack DMS. And
wait a minute, I'm going to go back. I apologize for that, but I'm saying, but have you ever sold cars before?
Oh yeah, so, yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, listen, because that's the thing. One of the things I was really impressed. I was trying to give you a layup to start. Is that one thing I was really surprised? A lot of these vendors, they're not about that life. You know, I'm a real car guy. Like, and if you haven't taken it up before, if you haven't desked a deal, you haven't put in that work on the lot in the showroom. You know what I mean? You can't.
So let me tell you, Sean. That's an important thing. So performance management, we won't even talk to you unless you are in the retail car business. In fact, we tend to be more interested in folks that are in the car business right now. Like I don't know that if you're at brand X CRM company or brand X vendor, that you're as attractive to us than if you're coming to me straight from the retail car business. Because part of that is, I can ride you like a rented mule over here. And as long as you can have nights, weekends, and holidays, you're kind of okay with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we only bring people into our world if they're car guys. And here's the thought process. I can teach you our software. I can teach you how that works. I can teach you what to click on and all that jazz. I can't teach you the car business. You've either done it or you haven't, and that's we don't hire. I mean, I'm not a software guy. You want to start talking about, you'll find out. If you ask me the right question, you'll understand I have no Darth Vader figurines in my office.
So talk to us about your automotive background. So you've sold cars. You ever managed or desk deals and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I sold cars. I sold one of the funnest jobs I had, and I would have told you I was going to retire from that 30 years ago, but I sold conversion vans to dealers, and then spent a lot of time with dealers training salespeople on how to sell them and working shows and, selling vans. And I loved it, man. I drove around in a conversion van and went from dealer to dealer and loved that. But yes, I've spent time at the sales desk and training, sales managers and, anything variable operations. In fact, it's funny. I'm now with X-Time, which is our, service offering. And let me tell you, fixed ops, I'm not very good at that. All I know about fixed ops is that's where you go to get a donut and a cup of coffee, in the waiting lounge.
I love it. But Mark, I want to hammer this in because, the authenticity. I really feel that there's some good technology out there, but they don't have authentic car people that are building the product sometimes, or onboarding clients, or that are account managers. And so it really doesn't work. You know what I mean? I think you guys at Vin found a formula with your performance management team that you have to have frontline retail experience. Can you talk about why? Because you said you won't even talk to people unless they have got frontline experience. But explain to us, from you as the head of the division, why you and Vin and Cox Automotive feels that you need to have that retail experience to be able to be a performance manager.
Yeah. So today, 2021, it's almost 2022. Dealers have to have a CRM. They don't have to have my CRM, but they have to have a CRM. It's very, very rare that we get a dealer that's new to VIN that isn't coming off of some other CRM. Okay. And likewise, it's rare that we lose somebody to note cards. I mean, we're losing them. They're going to another CRM, So the best way for us to achieve retention, and that's the name of the game for a business like ours. We don't make a whole lot of money when we sign you up. In fact, we've got to have you for a while before we ever even start making money. So keeping you for a long time is the secret to our business model. Well, the best way I can do that is if I can help you see results from the software. I mean, if you are selling more cars and making more money, and you think that the CRM or the performance manager are the reason why, you're probably not changing CRMs. I mean, that's pretty simple to understand, right? So what's the best way for me to do that? Well, it's by engaging with the dealer. If I can show you where I think there are areas of opportunity, or show you, places in the CRM where you've got low-hanging fruit that you're not attacking, or I can, maybe help hold your team accountable to whatever goals you've shared with me that are important to you. Well, then that's the best way for you to get results. Well, are you even going to listen to me if you don't think I have credibility to what I'm talking about? I mean, what I say to people all the time is, you might not hire me to wash cars out back. Okay. I'm not telling you, you need me to run your store, but at a minimum, you're going to know that I've at least done it. I know what you're trying to do. I've been there. I've stood on the asphalt and upped a customer. I bought a car at the auction. I've done those things that you're doing, and I get it, and that's why it's important to us, because I think without it, I don't know that our dealer has pushed credibility into what we say. Then we're just a software guy, right?
No, I think that's spot on. So let's go back to CRM. How long have you been in the automotive industry total for?
Say it again.
How long have you been in the automotive industry total for?
About 30 years.
Okay, so you have a little bit of time on me. I've got 23 in, so 23 years. So then you have, almost a decade more than I do. And I'm going to tell you, when I got into the automotive industry in 1999, here's what I came into. There were no CRMs. Okay, most stores had nothing. We had paper.
There was barely an internet in 1999.
Absolutely. But I had one store that had Goldmine and Act, which had nothing to do with automotive.
Yeah.
Very, very basic, primitive CRMs back in the day. And the manufacturers used to fax the leads from the OEM to the dealerships. And we would take these faxes and work them off of Outlook or Goldmine or Act or something like that, or just paper. And we used to have the little Stuker tickler file system with the index cards. And when I look at the evolution of CRM in the last 23 years of my career, it's mind-blowing how far we've come. Now, you, as the head of arguably the top CRM company in the automotive industry, does it kind of blow your mind a little bit from where you started 30 years ago to now, like how technology is with CRMs, or is it just like,
Yeah.
what's
So let me tell you, I went to V Auto because I thought that idea of evaluating a car's value, whether I'm buying it from the customer or I'm trying to sell it off my lot, putting a value on that car based on what people are advertising the car for sale on the internet and how that car is moving right now. Was I just thought was the coolest thing in the world, right? And I think that if you look over the last 30 years, we've gone from, 30 years ago, the customer had no knowledge whatsoever of anything. They didn't understand invoice price. They didn't know anything. They came in to get a dang brochure because that was the only way they could learn about the car. You'd hide the $4 brochures around the corner because you didn't want, all the 16-year-olds coming in and grabbing all of them, right? That's we've gone from that to now the customer has complete and total knowledge. And what's interesting to me about that, especially now with 8 years, almost 9 years with a single CRM company, is our industry changed. We changed from, and it was not a shift. It was a major change. The way people bought cars became a completely different endeavor, right? And instead of going to every dealership in town on Saturday and you catch them at 3 or 4 in the afternoon and they're just freaking worn out, and you're going to sell them a car just because they're sick of it, And now they go to far fewer stores. Why? Because they're getting their information they need somewhere else. Well, we've gotten pretty good at it. Since CRMs came along, people like you helping dealers to execute the right process. That's the whole key. Just getting the internet lead doesn't matter. It's what you do with it, that matters. And to me, I've always said, I'm probably talking too much, but the key to understanding an internet lead was when we as an industry, we had to go from, an internet lead is just a stroke from auto buy tell on the fax machine or something like that. As soon as I put the same value in an internet lead that I put into a phone up prior, then I was getting somewhere, right? Because then I at least put value into it. I put effort into it. But we've gone from that to now we're selling cars online, and digital retailing is a real thing. And I think that is the next major shift we're going to have to make as an industry because it's going to happen. It's happening literally everywhere, in our lives. And the car business isn't going to be any different, So I think we're seeing today what we saw with the internet and CRMs back in the early 2000s.
You know what? Spot on. So what is it about CRM that is intriguing to you? What about it? Because for some people, it's like kryptonite. Like they run from it because it's technology, it's confusing. I love CRM. I really do. Not all CRMs, but I love CRM, the process, the automation, the concept for me that you can automate and streamline and maximize, opportunities. What about CRM? I'm just curious, from your perspective, do you find intriguing, fascinating, valuable?
Well, so it's an area that not 100%. Okay, we don't live in a 100% world, and this business is definitely not a 100% business. But it's that thing that pretty much all dealers can do better. And you might hear this all the time. You go to train dealers, and they'll say, "You know what, Mark, that was okay, and your guys did a nice job, but that was a little too basic for me." Oh, really? Too basic for you? Then how come you're not doing it? You know what I mean? So you're saying that you know how to do it. That's good enough, but that you don't do it. That's okay. Well, it's not okay. So it's we've got a long ways to go. And I would argue the dealers that are most successful, taking away, weird situations like we went through with vehicle availability last summer, where you could sell anything you wanted for whatever you wanted. That's not real life. Okay.
Right.
So the most successful dealers, let me tell you what they have in common. at a minimum, they're pretty good at using their CRM. I mean, that's I think that's just an absolute for sure thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on that. I would concur that if everybody is doing basic stuff, everybody's at some level emailing, phone calling, text messaging, people are following up, people are taking ups. But if we know, and this is a stat that I use, okay, and this is 23 years in the business and almost 18 years that I've owned Dealer Synergy with, I don't even know if you know this, over 3,500 rooftops in the last 18 years that we've worked with. And we have 1,400 active rooftops now between my Bradley and Man, my conferences, the Dealer Synergy, my CRM business. I mean, we're nowhere near as big as you guys, but we're pretty freaking big. Yeah. And what I find is that 90% of CRMs are either broken, not set up correctly, not utilized correctly, or they're utilizing antiquated processes, templates from decades ago, decades and a half ago, etc. Or their people aren't trained the proper way, they're not held accountable. And even if they are, the attrition is so damn high and it comes and goes, it devalues the potential of the CRM. So first and foremost, do you find that my stat is accurate or close based on Vin?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Did you know 40% of service calls go to voicemail or hang up?
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
How many times does it take for your customers to connect with someone at your store?
The world may never know.
Unless you have CallSource customers connect with 96% of their clients' calls and convert over 85% of bookable calls to appointments. Really? If you're not performing at that level, or if you don't know, then text HELP to 855-963-2686 and receive a free evaluation of your store's performance.
I mean, I wouldn't argue with that stat. Let me put it to you that way.
Fair enough.
And look, here's the deal. You're right. I mean, what is a CRM? I mean, it's going to change in the next couple of years as digital retailing becomes more and more of a thing. But it's customer relationship management. We never say that. It's CRM. And we have an opportunity in the CRM to manage the entire relationship with that customer. It's not just a tool that processes deals. Okay. That's what our dealers tend to think of it as. It's a desking tool. And that's what I need to do to sell a car.
Follow-up tool.
What about using it to sell a car tomorrow, bro? And so that is, that's a big deal. And it's really a process engine. The CRM is going to fire processes to the right person with the right task at the right time, and that's what, when you say it's not set up properly, and that's what you mean, I think, is we've got maybe the wrong people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And some of that comes from, we set up the CRM 4 years ago, and some gal that was the internet manager 4 years ago set everything up. She's long gone, by the way. Since then, I've added a Kia franchise to the store. I mean, there's all these things that have changed, and I haven't changed anything in the CRM. I mean, crazy. I mean, just totally crazy.
Wait a minute. Let's go back to what you just said, because you're dropping major nuggets on here. So I don't know if you know this, but it's part of my training is I talk about that CRM is only 3 stinking letters, CRM, and we can't even do the R, relationship. See, to me, sales is a relationship thing. Car sales relationship. You get people to like you, trust you, believe you, they're going to buy from you. So to me, the relationship starts conceptually with the opportunity, with a prospect, a referral, etc. What we want to be able to do is try to engage that prospect and be able, in my humble opinion, try to gather as much qualifying information, whether it's wants, wishes, expectations, gathering field intelligence from things like the email address or their social profiles or the verbal conversations or their dialogues that we have with these people, and then taking that information and being able to segment that in the database. For example, it's one thing I love about Vin is in the customer dashboard, you have so many different widgets that most people don't use, which drives me batshit crazy. So you have things that are simple, like, you know what? I'll give an example before something simpler. You have something like it's the reverse lookup. People don't even know that's there. You have a question that says, what's the preferred method of communication? And the reason why people should ask that is because if somebody prefers text messaging, then why are we emailing, calling, doing 50 million things other than that? If we don't bother asking things like, what's the preferred time to engage you during the morning, afternoon, evening? What are your days off? The more field intelligence we could gather, and if we segment that into the CRM and format it, it will streamline our process. It will help us, increase engagements, increase conversions, building relationships. And let's just say, Mark, here's the thing that single-handedly blows my mind. I don't know if you know this, but I personally have audited and or set up over 600 CRMs, dealerships, unique myself, not my employees, just myself. And what I find is that I'll go into the sold process, the action plan for sold. How do you sell in this economy in 2021 going into 2022? And I'm not talking about like single point, independent dealerships that are in backwards, like, Mars. I'm talking about $250 million, $500 million dealer groups. And I look at their action plans and you know what it says? Phone call, 3 days. Next phone call, maybe 2 months. Next phone call, never. I go to the deal. That's how I get all the business I have is I say, let me just log into your VIN. Let's go. And I go through the action plans and I say, you want to know why you're not selling cars? Because your action plans suck. And if you think about it, whatever somebody codes, whoever it is, that is a direct correlation to what your results are going to be. Because if I don't have the right frequency, the right cadence, the right diversification of attempts, then how can I be mad when my people are not selling cars?
Okay, so let me tell you, let me, you're onto something there, okay? But the first thing is as a dealer. So I'm the dealer right now in this pretend world, okay? And I wish I could be a dealer again because I feel like I know a shitload more than today than I did, 10 years ago. But okay, so first of all, it's my CRM and those are my customers. They're not the salesman's customers. It's sure as hell not the salesman's CRM. It's mine. Okay. And I better take ownership of those processes and take ownership of those customers. And I need to manage out of the CRM. Too many dealers and dealer groups just allow 5-car Fred, like the CRM's a tool I'm providing for him to help him sell a couple of cars. No, that's my entire lifeblood and communication and spirit of how I engage with my customers that I've spent, maybe generations developing. It's either happening in the CRM or it's not. When I see dealers hold a save a deal meeting and they're not doing it in the CRM, that is crazy to me, right? Why wouldn't you use the CRM, right? And so that's a big thing. You've got to recognize that it's yours. And we now have technological capabilities today that we've never had before. At VIN, we have automotive intelligence that helps you understand as a dealer, customers that they haven't told you they're shopping, but they're shopping. They're looking at cars on AutoTrader. They're appraising cars on Kelley Blue Book. They're looking at cars on your website. They haven't filled out a form, okay? Because you're waiting for them to fill out a form so then you can spring into action. Well, how about if I told you Sean V. Bradley is shopping for SUVs right now, and he's probably going to buy a Chevrolet right now, and this is going to happen really soon. Would you want to call that guy? I think you might want to. You might want to reach out to him, right? And then we have the ability now with our marketing platform. Gone are the days where you send out a broadcast email to every email address you have that says something like, "Hey, I've got a whole bunch of cars, and it'd be really cool if you'd come buy one." We want to market to individual people. So our AMP tool is going to, bring down the campaigns to a 1-to-1, like in an omni-channel fashion. So I'm going to send Sean an email. I'm going to call Karen Bradley on the phone because that's how she likes to communicate with me. And we're going to reach out to you on things that matter to you. Your warranty is expiring. Your car is in equity. That car that you want is now available. Whatever it is that is I can communicate with just you in an automated way. So that's where we're headed.
Let's go through this. Let's digress for a second because I want people to, because this is fire conversation right here. Give me some tips. And when I was in Kansas City at your guys' headquarters, you guys have like pillars or principles of success. And I get it. And I'm going to lead you a little because there's a lot of things that we can do. I get all that. But when we don't even do the basic stuff, I'll give you an example. I'm going to use a different company and a different, not a competitor, lead source providers. One of my friends is AutoWeb, and AutoWeb gave me this crazy stat. Try to imagine in 2021, in December 2021, AutoWeb says that 45 to 48% of their dealers do not even respond to an AutoWeb lead within the first 48 hours. Are you freaking kidding me? When we have an inventory crisis and you actually have inventory there, but you don't call the freaking up back, are you out of your damn mind? So yeah, we could talk about objections, rebuttals, qualifications, and ninja shit here and there, but if you can't even call the damn prospect back and answer their damn question, you need to be slapped, in my opinion. I'm just saying. So again, I'm not looking for you to go like crazy and high level shit, but let's just keep it real. What are some really, really important Mark Vickery tips for CRM success and CRM proficiency?
Okay, well, let's start. You ought to respond to all the leads that you get. That's a shocking number to me. That 48%. I mean, I'm going to struggle to wrap my head around that one, but the fact of the matter is leads are not responded to with the urgency that they ought to. And can you imagine any other form of your business being that way? If people walked in your front door and you waited a couple hours to greet them, I mean that's the same as letting an internet lead rot for 48 hours in my mind, and probably can be explained away, Sean, by crappy setup. I've got leads going to Five Car Fred, who's on a 3-day vacation, and I don't have any way to account for that. Crazy stuff like that. But some of the areas that I think are going to become the new most important thing is data collection. So data collection has always been important, obviously. Okay. But as our ability to communicate and automate communication with customers becomes more and more surgical. Well, I can't send an automatic text to somebody whose cell phone number I don't have. I can't send an automated email to somebody to a person whose correct email address I don't have. And so I've got to get really, really purposeful. And we now in AMP, we can send postcards if you want to, so we're going to communicate with a customer how they want to be communicated with. But if I don't have all the information, I can't do it. You want to communicate by text? I don't have your cell phone number. Well, okay, maybe somebody else can text you because I can't. So I've got to get, and think of the good businesses that you trade with every day. I have restaurants that I go to and they know me. I mean, they see me all the time and they're going to ask me, by the way, are you still at mark.s.vickery? Are you still 816-309-4668? Yeah, I am. That's because they want to make sure their database is right so they can bang on me as needed. And we've got to get that forces the dealer to take CRM from just a transactional tool that I need to sell a car today and turns it into a retention tool, a customer relationship management tool. And that's a mind shift that we've got to go through.
Man, I got to tell you, I love this. You are going to, and like when there's a sidebar here, you are going to be a featured speaker at the upcoming Internet Sales 20 Root Conference, which is going to be January 11th to the 13th in Philadelphia. And you're also, VinSolutions is going to be doing a roundtable. Tell us what the topic of your subject is and what is the description and what are the takeaways? What are you going to be talking about?
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about digital retailing mostly. And how, that's got to change the way, we think about things and how we have to avoid some common mistakes and how we might need to treat a digital retail lead differently and process them a little more uniquely it will be the focus of what I'm talking about. And, this is my second time to your conference. I'm really excited about it. The first one was down in Miami, and that was really fun. But I love Philly. I mean, Philly's probably my favorite city. So I'm going to go to Pat's Steak. And I know the Philly people are, oh, that's BS. That's a tourist trap. Well, it's a tourist trap for a reason.
I like Pat's over Geno's anyway. Geno's got better
100%.
brand. Yeah, but
so anyway, I'm really excited about it. And
so let's talk about that subject that you just said, though. So digital retailing, I got a couple of things I want to ask you because you're a subject matter expert. My data shows that even in the height of the pandemic, still only about 10% or less of all digital retailing initiations, go through the whole process. Most of the times they opt out. So here's my question. It's coming up. I'm building up to it. There's all this hype and all this digital retailing. And when the freaking pandemic hit, that was the perfect time to be fully digital retail. So why do you think that digital retail only has a 10% or less of a completion ratio, but yet you and a lot of vendors are really ecstatic or stoked or optimistic about the validity or value of digital retailing?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And the first thing is, yeah, you're right. I mean, 2020, April of 2020, you might not be selling a car that month without digital retailing, right? But that changed pretty quickly, okay? And so I don't think anybody is telling you that we're going to go from our current state of selling cars to all shopping cart transactions, and that's it. Okay, that's not where we're going. Okay, but as a dealer, the first thing I've got to do is I've got to recognize that the road to the sale is not my domain anymore. I don't have control over. You want to buy a car from me? Well, then this is what you're going to do. Number one, you're going to start off by coming here. Okay, and then once you get here, then we're going to find out what the heck you want. And we're going to show you what the heck we have. And then we're going to maybe talk about price. Okay. And then, and only then, can we talk about, what you're going to pay for this car. Okay. That's not, we don't get to do that anymore. Okay. And I've got to be able to deliver a sales process to every person the way they want it. And so where digital retailing becomes important as a dealer is I've got to recognize what they're doing online with my store and with the car they want to buy before they come in, rather than make them start all over again. If they've appraised their car on Kelley Blue Book and they've sent me in a credit app, and I don't acknowledge those things when they get to the store, I may already be sunk. I mean, how offensive is that? I went on your website that you encouraged me to do through some, Google ad campaign that you have going. And I landed on your website and I completed a couple of steps towards the purchase of my car. And then I came in because you're right, Sean, that most of them prefer to transact face to face. Okay. But the way I would say it is they're going to do the things they don't like at home, maybe, and then do the stuff they do like in the store. But if they come into the store and I make them start over again, I mean, that's just offensive to me, And so that's that when at least when I say digital retailing has to be something we're prepared for, what I really mean is, what am I doing with that customer that started on my website, filling out some digital retailing process on my website, or Auto Trader or Cars.com or whatever. And that's how they came to me. And I don't recognize that activity. I might as well just give you the finger and tell you that, I'm not interested in what you're telling me.
So let's just talk about this. I have a great question. It's going to be the follow-up after this one is, in a perfect world, how do you see digital retailing working? Okay. So what, and I don't want you to go into in the future, because that's my next question is, what do you see in the future? But as of right now, how can dealers utilize a digital retailing strategy the best way? I'm going to shut up and I want you to break it down, Forrest Gump, for people that have heard the buzzwords digital retailing. They might have tried it, weren't successful in it, and they're listening to us now. They value my opinion, they value your opinion. You know what? I'm going to give this shit a try. So how should it work and how should dealers engage it?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Attention auto dealers, you need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads, high quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and or zip codes, and as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
Well, so first of all, I think you've got to have a platform that works. That they've got to have the ability to see your inventory. You've got to have technology that allows them to desk a deal. You've got to allow them to see F&I products. You've got to allow them to pick out the car, to select a car, and appraise a trade. You've got to have all of that functionality. And then it's got to talk intelligently with your CRM tool. It's got to come into the CRM tool. And so I think you've got to have the process. To me, if anything has changed right now, I've got to ask questions of every customer I up to find out, have they already taken care of some steps before they came in? Have you spent time on our website, and do you have a current deal? Many of our customers have already started a deal and selected a car and have already maybe even communicated about price. Have you done any of that? Because if they have, I want to log into my CRM right in front of them and say, okay, this is you. By the way, did you bring the Monte Carlo? I see you appraised the Monte Carlo. Is it with you? I want to identify all of those steps that they've taken and give them credit, for the effort that they put in. I think that's the thing we have to do right now. And then ultimately we go about just selling them a car like we've always sold them a car, right? But I've got to just support and recognize the effort that they've put in. And I've got to have those tools. I mean, it's just like, to me, it's just like 1999 when we were still not giving any information to the customer, right? Don't tell them anything on the phone. Well, you know what? Even by 1999, we had realized, okay, if you don't give it to them, somebody else will, right? I'll bet you that's what Stuker's training was in 1999 was if you don't give them the information, they're going to get it from somebody else. So you might as well give it to them, well, if I give them everything, they got a reason to come in, right? Well, what we learned was that ship was sailing whether we wanted it to or not, and that's what's happening with digital retailing right now. Is I've got to have the ability. I've got to tell people they can achieve that if they want. I've got to invite them to buy a car that way if they want, knowing that they're probably going to bug out of the process before they get down to me throwing the car on a flatbed and taking it to their house.
I love it. All right, I want to talk to you about something different. I just want your opinion. And this is kind of crazy because we're doing this live, and you might be like, "This is stupid," and I'm gonna feel stupid. But I just want to parlay with you here for a second. So, because we just established that digital retailing isn't fully maximized and utilized for a myriad of reasons, during the pandemic, what I've done, especially with VinSolutions, is I've created what I call the dealer synergy virtual process. And what that means is I've trained, well, first of all, let me digress. When I train my sales staff, my client sales staff or their BDCs, is I teach them to give their prospects options. So they'll reach out to the prospect. It's Mark Vickery. We'll do the initial, conversation. Then it's going to transition to, something to the effect that I don't want to give my word tracks for free. So I'm just going to kind of just share this a little bit here that, we have a couple different options how we could do business. One, we could do just some research to help you gather field intelligence to help you make a decision. Or if you are in need and desire to purchase a vehicle in the immediate future, we have got a couple different options. One of them might be that we could do this the traditional way, is what we call it, where we set up an appointment and then we go through this, which is, it's a longer process. Our clients prefer not to spend hours at the dealership. So the secondary choice is that you could do this completely autonomously. You could use the software that we have and go through at your leisure, or we could do most of this or almost all is through the phone and internet, and either schedule an expedited delivery process, which means we'll come in, do a final inspection, and have you in and out of the dealership as quickly as possible. Or we could do most of this over the phone and internet, or all of it, and then deliver the vehicle free of charge to your home or office. Now, the difference of this and digital retailing, Mark, in my opinion, is that digital retailing, it's the prospect just going on the software, doing everything. Whereas, let's just say it's like this. Let's just say that you were not on Zoom, that I called you, I had this conversation, you're like, Sean, look, I would really love your help, and I don't want to waste my time in the dealership, so I want to maximize my time, get the best deal, and have the best experience. Okay, Mark, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you a Zoom link. As soon as I send you the Zoom link, now we're just like this, just like we are right now. You have a little screen box there, you see me, and then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to pretend in my head that I upped you at the door, because I could do almost every single thing right now through Zoom that I could do upping you through the door. Let's go through the road to the sale. First, I'm going to do the meet and greet. We just did that. Now I'm going to do the qualification. What I could do if we're in Vin, I'll turn around and share my screen, open up Vin, and then I'm going to be able to go into my worksheets, and I could turn around and put up my customer worksheet or my Foursquare right there. And just like if I was physically at my desk and I'm qualifying the prospect with a customer worksheet or Foursquare, I could do that right through Vin, right through Zoom. Okay, and then after I qualify you, then it's product selection, depending on the dealership's strategy. If you are an intermediate advanced person, you usually don't have to check in with the desk. You could just do product selection, go from there. If it's a newbie, then what happens is, because we're in Zoom, I could turn around and DM my desk what's going on, and the desk could turn on and guide me, make sure that I'm on the right car. Once the desk blessed that I'm on the 2022 Honda Accord, okay, boom. Then I'm going to do the full features and benefits product selection. Now, there's different software, which I'm not going to plug any other companies, that you could do this just verbally, but there is technology. I will say, for example, Mazda manufacturer, I use an OEM instead of a product. They use tablet-enabled selling. And so their entire OEM specializes in technology to enhance the selling thing. So instead of doing that with tablets, you could do that, through Zoom. So that basically, instead of just verbally saying that the Honda Accord has this, this, and this, there's actual software that's more advanced of, galleries and features and benefits and things like that. So I got that part. They even have technology that's going to be as close as possible to a test drive. So they've got videos of real customer test drives with real feedback, likes, things that they're not 100% there, boom. And so we try to replicate that. We could do the credit application, we could do the trade appraisal, and with Darwin, we could even turn around and do all the financing and have it there. So pretty much, if you're trained the proper way and you have the right resources, you could literally do every single thing that you could do physically in the dealership, except technically physically test drive the vehicle. Now, I'm a car guy and I'm a trainer, so I 1000% say for people that they should, do a full features and benefits product presentation and a full demonstration drive, because so you could build value. But I want to source 3 of the world's top salespeople. Cody Carter sold 154 cars on the showroom floor at Tustin Toyota. Okay, you look at Ali Retta from Les Stanfield, sold 209 cars in 1 month. Facts. And then you have Frank Crenini that averages 105 cars in Pennsylvania. All 3 of these people do almost no test drives, because there's a difference between relationship selling versus transactional selling. So my point being is not that I'm anti-test drives, and I am not saying skip test drives, but I'm telling you the 3 most successful salespeople in the world right now don't do any test drives. So my point is that other than the test drive, you could do everything easily through Zoom, video, CRM, and what I just mentioned. My question to you is, I call this virtual selling, because it's not traditional and it's not digital retailing. It's almost like a hybrid. What are your thoughts about what I said for the user experience and the dealership experience using a virtual selling process?
Okay, so holy shit, that's a lot of words for me to unpack with a one sentence
You're a
answer.
30-year guy, so you could get it.
Son of a bitch. All right, so this is what I'll say. We've only got about 5 more minutes, but this is what I'll tell you. What you've just described to me, I 100% agree with. First of all, and I applaud that. I think that's a smart way to. That's great, Sean, and I hope you're getting dealers to buy into that.
Hell yes, yeah, we are.
Okay, but I think you've described what I think digital retailing is. I think what you were, to me, what digital retailing today is mostly, where we get hung up on is the idea, we think of digital retailing meaning that the deal has to transact online, and I'm going to throw the car in a flatbed and meet them at Starbucks and deliver the car. It might be that, but that's the smallest percentage of the whole thing. What really we're doing is we're taking care of steps at home that we used to have to only do in the store. That's the thing that's different. And I've got to, however I go about allowing the customer to take care of those steps outside of my store, then I'm okay. If you want to get them on Zoom, that's fantastic. Okay. But I've still got to be able to achieve whatever it is I need to achieve with whatever tools I need to achieve them with. And wouldn't you say, as you go through the Zoom process with the customer, you're going to allow the customer to decide what it is they want to do, how they want to do it, when they want to do it? They're in control. So how you execute on that, I really don't care. Okay, it's separating myself from controlling the process that's important, and that's what I think digital retailing is. And 10 years from now, Sean, maybe we get to remember that thing back right at the end of right before Christmas in 2021, we were talking about digital retailing and Zoom meetings, and holy shit, now we're selling all of our cars online. I mean, maybe, but we're a long ways away from that now. But I've got, as a business owner, I've got to be willing to embrace that the customer is in control of how they want to shop. And where that comes into conflict is I can set up all the infrastructure in the world to allow the things you just described to happen. But if they get a hold of Five Car Fred, they get a hold of the wrong salesman, that he doesn't know how to talk to you unless he's banging on you, get your ass into the store, you got a problem.
Man, well said. So Mark, just out of respect to your time, I want to just talk about my relationship and Dealer Synergy's relationship with VinSolutions. First of all, I want to just thank you publicly, because I have that video, and I have people call me on that video that I shot in Kansas City, that you had said that what VinSolutions has done with Dealer Synergy, you've never done that before with other consultants, like how we had your like executive team. And I don't know if you heard the analogy. I call, like, you ever watch like Forrest Gump, the Chinese ping pong team, the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
I felt like I had the Chinese ping pong team, the VinSolutions executives on one side of the table, and I'm back, and I love the synergy, the collaboration. And I want to just kind of talk about that, why we work well together. And this just came up with the 5 Rooftop Dealer Group recently, is that, and this is a problem that I want to talk to you about publicly, that a lot of times dealers have false expectations about what the responsibility is of a CRM. They think because you have a CRM, whether it's Vin or any other CRM, that it's Vin's responsibility for you to have complete CRM expertise, knowledge, and success. What I try to do is give an analogy and say, listen, if you have let's say if I have a multi-million-dollar home, right? I'm not going to allow the people that do the sheetrock and do the plumbing to decorate my furniture and decorate my carpet, pick out my carpets and my drapes. I mean, like, that's a whole different thing. VinSolutions and CRMs, in my opinion, are the technology and the structure. The CRM should be responsible to teach you buttonology, how to use the tool, how to customize the tool, but it is up to the dealership how to use that tool, what the processes are and things like that. So if the dealership uses shitty processes or stupid processes, you can't shoot the damn CRM company. And this is not a save for you. This is any CRM company. And I don't know if you want to use the example we just talked about, but there's a liability if a CRM company programs action plans and processes. Can you please talk about this? Because I think this is rampant, with a lot of people thinking that CRMs are responsible, for dealers like, revenue new and shit like that, but they're not. They're a technology tool. How you use it is up to
we have dealers that fire us sometimes, and they say, well, why are you firing us? Well, I hate your processes. My processes? The hell do you mean? They're not my processes. They're your processes. You know what I mean? Yeah, whatever processes you want, you know, I mean, they're not mine. I don't care what you do, you know, I mean, so it's, yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, earlier we talked about, we hire car guys to be performance managers and, you know, we're definitely equipped to give some advice, but you're not getting a consultant. Okay. We're not, you know, it's a different kind of role. And you're right. And we talked about some of this earlier, you know, when we talked about the dealer has got to take ownership over what happens in his CRM as a primary way of doing business, and not just have it be that tool that the internet department uses. I mean, that's what I have GMs tell me sometimes. Hey, I want to talk about your CRM. Yeah, go talk to Tom. He's my internet guy. Your internet guy. I mean, I've got 100,000 people in your CRM. The internet guy. You know, so I think you're right. I mean, spiritually, I know you're right. It is you've got the dealer. Those are the dealer's customers. And if all I do with my CRM is transacting car deals today, at a minimum, I'm not getting everything I deserve out of my CRM.
Let's flow on this. And again, I know we were going to possibly go in different directions. I want to go on this. I think this is so valuable right here, Mark. Let me elaborate. So I'm talking to the dealers listening, GMs and executive managers. If you own or run or responsible for an automotive dealership, and God forbid a dealer group, you cannot allow anybody, not one of your frontline employees, not one of your vendors or mercenaries, to be solely responsible of everything. It blows my mind. The average dealership spends $64,000 a month in advertising to drive traffic. Dealer groups that are larger, take a 200, 300, 400, 500 car store. Jesus, they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month potentially in marketing, advertising, branding, technology, all this shit. You do all that spend, and then you have some maniacal, antiquated processes. Let me be specific. That means when your salespeople, your BDC reps, your service writers, when they come into work, they sit down and metaphorically punch the clock. They're waiting for supposedly activities to deploy for them to be productive, effective, and convert and sell. But if those action plans are antiquated, broken, or they just suck, you know what I mean? It's going to completely affect the entire operation. And so to your point, it blows my mind that they just delegate it like it's not a big deal. It is a very big deal. Can you elaborate on this? I know you said it, but
yes, I mean, we could do this. And then I want to avoid sounding like a whiner. I mean, I'm very bullish on the car business. I love the retail car business. Okay, it's everything I have, and I've got a great life. I owe to the goddamn retail car business. Okay, and I think that they're the smartest entrepreneurs in America. I mean, you want to figure that they'll find a way. Yeah, pandemic, cash for clunkers, recession. It don't matter. Persian Gulf War, what the hell ever. They're going to figure it out. Okay. Right. I've got a lot of respect for car dealers, and they got a lot of risk, and they have got stones. I mean, they will take chances. I mean, I really admire them. But since we're going to say it, yeah. I mean, can you imagine? Let's go back to like 1985, and the only way we advertised was in the internet. Or in the newspaper, and maybe we had some TV ads and radio ads, but let's face it, the newspaper was where we advertised, and we had 1 million classified ads, and we paid a ton of money in classified ads, and that's how people shopped. What's the worst thing? You come in Saturday morning, and the Dodge dealer down the street has Intrepids at $10 a month cheaper than you. It's like, son of a gun, so that's where we advertised. Well, imagine then, 1985, if you disconnected your phone, you ran all those ads and you just, let's unplug the phone, piss on it. The thing rings all the time. It's annoying as hell. I don't like the noise. I'm just going to turn off the phone. As ridiculous as that is, That's what we do when we spend all that money to attract internet activity and we push people to our website and they fill out a form where I'm telling you about technology that tells me when they're shopping before they tell me they're shopping, and I don't do anything about it. We had people that cancel our automotive intelligence tool. Do you know why? Not because it doesn't work, not because they don't believe it's valuable, but because their people won't use the data that they have. So you got a tool telling you people want to buy a car, but because your people won't respond to that, you're going to cancel the thing. I mean, I don't understand that. It just doesn't make sense. And that's why the mindset has to be, gosh darn it, I have got technology right now that can drive my business up. And I can sell more cars, or I can make more money on the cars I'm selling, or whatever the metric is. I can satisfy more customers. That's going to drive more service business and blah, 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 blah. And well, you got to do it. You've got the technology. You're paying for it because you can be on VinSolutions and fire VinSolutions and go hire Brand X. Guess what? If you don't use their tool, you're not going to get any better results there either.
Man, look, I don't know about you. I got tremendous amount of value to this conversation and the pace that we have. This is back to the Chinese ping pong tournament right here. We were just volleying back and forth. Mark, I wanted to thank you so much for taking time out of your day, especially right before the holidays and stuff like that. I am super excited to have you as a featured speaker and a roundtable host at the upcoming Internet Sales 20 group in Philadelphia in January. I got one more last question for you, right? Do you know who Papoose is?
No.
Papoose is a gangster rapper. He's got one of the hottest tracks in the country right now with Lil Wayne. He's actually performing at the VIP party. So I want you to do me a favor. He's my friend, and Paps is my friend. I want you to do a pose like this, like really, like right next to Papoose. Can I get that? Can I get that right here on the air? Like, can I catch that
right
picture?
now? You mean like this?
Yeah, but no, in Philly, like he's gonna be next to you, and you're gonna be like this, and that's called a gangster lean. You know what I mean? So you're gonna be with one of the illest rappers.
And people equate me with gangster rap all the time. I mean, that's kind of my. So.
Okay.
Hey, listen, I want you to know I'm taking my family to the Bahamas on New Year's Eve, and we come back. We land at 9:00 on the 9th of January, and so I'll get home about 10. And then I leave at 6 a.m. on the 10th to come to Philly. So I won't show you my tan lines, but I'll be coming right.
Dude, you're hysterical. Listen, everybody, if you don't know who Mark Vickery is, you better ask somebody. Like, he is the real deal. Mark, how can people get a hold of you if you want people to get a hold of you, if they have questions about CRM or if
I'd be happy to talk to anybody. So my email is just first name last name at coxautoinc.com. So mark.v as in Victor, ICKERY at coxautoinc.com. Or you can call me or text me, 816-309-4668. And I hope to see at least some of you in Philly, really just a couple of weeks away.
7 days, y'all.
Absolutely. So, Mark, thank you very much.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is sponsored in part by AutoWeb and Call Review. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.